Hi, it's Mitch from SportsChatPlace.com here with Ron Romanelli for Ron's take on Week 2 of the NFL schedule. Of course, Week 1 was full of surprises, full of upsets, and I expect Week 2 to be no different. NFL and NBA, two of the toughest sports to cap because everybody in the league can flat out play. Ron?
And that's right. I think the NFL is the toughest because you always hear any given Sunday, and that's definitely true for the NFL. We saw it in Week 1, and we're going to see it the rest of the season.
You don't see people lay down at any point in the game, and the way the point spreads work, those meaningless touchdowns are very meaningful to some of us. But let's get to the 4 games you're going to cover. The first of these is going to be the Raiders and the Steelers. This one is going to be a gem. Raiders on the short week now go on the road to Pittsburgh, who knocked off Buffalo on the road in Buffalo. Spotted the Bills 10 points. Got a call that kind of went their way there. Took full advantage of it. Scored and never looked back. And, I'm not saying the call was the difference in the game, because it certainly wasn't. It was early, it was early enough. The Bills had the lead, and it wasn't like, down by the goal line or something. It was in the middle of the field or in their own territory. So, it definitely gave them a first down and all of that kind of good stuff. But at the same time, the Bills didn't stop them either. So, anyways, Raiders-Steelers should be a gem.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be a good game, but I to be honest with you, Mitch, I really wasn't that impressed with the Raiders' Monday night performance. I know they beat the Ravens, a great home win in front of the home crowd, the first crowd at that new stadium. But the Raiders, to me, I still worry about their offensive and defensive lines. The Raiders allowed 189 rushing yards in that game. I know most of that was Lamar Jackson, but still, Tyson Williams, the Ravens running back, still had 7.2 yards per carry in that one. The Raiders themselves didn't really run the ball well. Josh Jacobs had 2 touchdowns on the ground, but not too many yards. I think he was held under 40 yards in that one. The Steelers playing, coming off a great win against an AFC playoff team. I think that they're going to put a lot of pressure on Derek Carr in this game. That secondary is a totally different beast. The Ravens had some injuries in their secondary. Obviously, Marcus Peters going down right before the season. I think this is going to be a really tough spot for the Raiders at Heinz Field. We saw this spread already jump a point from 5.5 to 6.5. I think the Steelers win this game by a touchdown, so I'll lay the points. I think the Steelers control it from start to finish.
The big run in that game for the Raiders was by Marcus Mariota. That was the big run, and now he's out. He was injured on that play. You could see he was in pain and did not return to the game. But if you look at the injured list here for the Raiders, it is 1.5 miles long. A lot of questionables and probables on there, that's for sure, but definitely some outs on there as well, including Marcus Mariota. Go to the next game, and that is the Falcons and the Bucs. Super interesting matchup here because this is a little bit of a sandwich game here for the Bucs. They did get the extra day off. They got the Rams next week, and that should be a big one for them. And the Bucs, while they won their game against the Cowboys, and I'll tell you what, down by 1 point with any time left on the clock at all. They always act like, oh, it's a miracle comeback by Brady, whatever. There wasn't a person in the world watching that game that didn't think the Bucs were going to win that game. I mean, it was like, as soon as they scored, it's like, oh, there's a second left on the clock. It's too much time for Tom Brady, right? It's like, I don't understand why they always have to act like that when we know, we know that what's going to happen here. It's like, you see something, for the 800th time, and it's like you start to say that, you almost take it for granted that it's going to happen. It's like, the fact he doesn't throw it in for the touchdown is probably the bigger surprise. Ron, what do you think happens here with the Falcons, who got just absolutely shellacked and handled by the Eagles in Week 1?
Yeah, usually this matchup between the Falcons and Bucs is usually a close game. We usually see a lot of upset wins from both sides. But to me, call me Brian Bitler if you want, but I'm going to go square here. I got to go with the Tampa Bay Bucs and lay the points. It's just a total mismatch on both sides of the ball. You got arguably the worst defense in the league in the Atlanta Falcons. The Eagles put up plenty of points. Jalen Hurts looked like a superstar in that game. And I think Tom Brady, who just picked apart the Cowboys, is going to be able to do a lot of damage as well. I think the Bucs will also rely on their ground game a lot more than they did against the Cowboys. On the other side, the Falcons, Matt Ryan, he struggled against an Eagles secondary that I thought was one of the worst heading into the season. Now you face the Tampa Bay Bucs defense that had a shaky performance against the Cowboys. I look for them to want to bounce back at home and prove the haters wrong and show that they are still one of the better defenses in the league. It's just on both sides of the ball, the Bucs have the complete edge. I don't see the Falcons running the ball well with Mike Davis and company. I think this is a blowout win. So anything less than 2 touchdowns, I'm willing to lay with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
I'm going to be on the other side of this one. I'm going to play devil's advocate. I'm going to take the Falcons. I'm going to say that this is an NFL team. They're a proud NFL team. They know they played poorly in week 1. Everyone on an NFL roster can play. They lost a few key guys, from that defense and, of course, Julio Jones from the offense. But, the Falcons are a better team than what we saw in week 1. And, this is a divisional matchup, and the Bucs, while they're the team that everybody that everyone's gunning after as the defending Super Bowl champs, and with Tom Brady and all the stars on there, they know the Rams are up next week too, and they know that, and that one in Los Angeles as well. So it's a road game too. So maybe a little bit of a look ahead spot, even though they're a veteran team. Got Texans against the Browns. The Texans, one of my big winners in week 1. I really liked them going into that game, and they did not disappoint me one bit. Tyrod Taylor looking like a legitimate NFL quarterback against Jacksonville, and asterisk. And meanwhile, the Browns melted in the second half against Patrick Mahomes. Not the first team that's happened to, not the last team, but as Al Davis used to say, just cover, baby.
Yep, the Browns got a big cover there. But certainly they expected to win that game. They were up by 9 with 10 minutes left. But in this one, I like the under in this Houston-Cleveland game. The Browns, I think, have the best running game, the running back committee and offensive line in the league. I think you're going to see them focus on that running game all season long. Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt, we saw that in the first week against the Chiefs, and they jumped out to that big lead because of it. I think that Cleveland's going to be able to control the tempo in this game. They're right now they're a 13-point favorite. I don't want to lay that many points in this spot, but I don't think Houston's going to have nearly as much offensive success as it did against the Jaguars. I see a Cleveland win in which the Texans don't score much. I like the under 48.
I'm gonna have to. I like the Texans in this one. I like the way that they played in week 1. I don't expect them to come in here and bust them up and to win and all of those kind of things of that nature. But I do expect them to play hard and to keep this one competitive. I think that we didn't see the best of the Browns in that game against the Chiefs. We did in spots. I think they're going to run the ball effectively. I think they're going to do everything that they do, but 12.5 in an NFL football game or whatever this one is, it's a little bit too much for me. I'm just going to take the Texans here. Probably not rushing to the window to bet this thing, but let's just say I probably will put a little something on the Texans. Takes us to our last game of this segment. We've got the Cowboys visiting the Chargers as the Chargers play their first home game with fans in the stands at SoFi Stadium. A big day in Los Angeles. Ron.
Yeah, it's a very big day, and I think this is going to be a very entertaining game. If you like offense, I know Mitch and I prefer the defense, but I see plenty of points in this matchup. It's the steepest total of the week for a reason. We saw the Cowboys defense crumble. Tom Brady made it look easy. I mean, when does Tom Brady not make it look easy? But more so in week 1 than anything in recent years. The Cowboys defense struggled badly. We know there's injuries, and now Lawrence is going to be out for quite a bit as well. Yeah, the Chargers defense, it looked well against the Washington football team, but Dak Prescott is on that revenge tour. I mean, he came in week 1, Thursday Night Football, coming back from his horrific season-ending injury last season, and he looked like he was unstoppable against one of the better defenses in the league. I see plenty of points from both teams. You got 2 flashy quarterbacks. I think we see plenty of large passing plays, 40-yard touchdowns, Keenan Allen and Amari Cooper and CeeDee Lamb. Just plenty of points, and I think the NFL is going to enjoy watching this one. The fans are going to enjoy it too. I'll take the over.
With all the ink that Chase Young gets, I think the Chargers defense lost a little bit of ink last week in that one in Washington, and they're no slouches either. I know the Washington offense isn't anything to write home about, but when they needed it most, when Washington got the turnover as the Chargers were driving for the go-ahead score, the Chargers came up with the turnover when they have needed it most inside the 5-yard line, able to convert that, and that was ball game. Also, what we saw at the end of the game when Justin Herbert needed to ice the the game away. 3rd down and long, 3rd and 8, 3rd and 7, 3rd and 6, conversion. That is a quarterback that is no longer a rookie and a guy who is a solid contributor and a real NFL QB. Not so easy, even if the guy's wide open over the middle or even if it's Keenan Allen or whatever the case is, right? Not easy. So, I don't know. I think the Chargers just too much in this one. Just not getting the recognition. I think, after seeing Chase Young last week and a DeMarcus Lawrence-less Cowboy team, I don't see how they match up in this one. I think the Cowboys have some serious issues. I mean, Dak Prescott, obviously, 451 passing, or whatever it was, 391 passing, 451 total offense. Ezekiel Elliott just does not look the same. I don't care about the lost weight and all that stuff. Just doesn't seem to have the power that he had or even that breakaway speed when he hits the hole. I'm not really sure what the case is there and how much of it was the Tampa Bay defense, but that Chargers defense allowed 133 yards passing last week against Washington, best in the NFL, 126 rushing, 259 total yards. That is some serious business. I just don't see how Dallas goes in here and does it, especially as bad as they've been on the road in recent years. So I'm going to go with the Chargers in this one. Anyways, that wraps up today's segment for week 2 of the NFL season. Ron will be back for week 3. Of course, you could get free picks on all the games every day at sportschatplace.com, the original free pick site. And, of course, if you're looking for Ron's best bets, my best bets from some of the top handicappers in the world today, head on over to sportschatplace.com, click on the Premium Picks tab.